From the very beginning of her life, it was clear that Demi was not like other children in her village. While most babies would cry when they were hungry and stop once they had been fed, Demi seemed to cry endlessly, as though the whole world could never satisfy her hunger. Her mother, Mama Demi, often complained that she had to breastfeed more than 10 times in one night, and still, the baby would keep reaching out for more. As she grew older, Demi's appetite only increased. If her mother boiled yam for the family, Demi would finish her own portion quickly and then start begging for her siblings' share. If she was refused, she would sneak into the kitchen to scrape the pot. During festivals, while other children danced and played with balloons, Demi's eyes only followed the trays of rice, meat, puff-puff, and soft drinks moving around. Everyone in the neighborhood noticed her unusual love for food. Children laughed whenever they saw her chewing something. They nicknamed her Onge, meaning food in Yoruba. At first, Demi's parents thought it was just a childish habit, something that would pass as she grew. But they soon discovered it was not just a habit, it was who she was. There was a day Mama Demi sent her to deliver roasted corn to a neighbor. On the way, Demi began to smell the sweet aroma of the roasted corn in the paper wrap. She stopped, looked around to make sure no one was watching, and ate 2 out of the 4 pieces. When she got to the neighbor's house, she pretended she had mistakenly dropped some on the ground. But the neighbor noticed the oil stains around her mouth and laughed, saying, "Ah, Demi. Even on the road, you cannot hold yourself." Her mother was embarrassed when she heard the story, but Demi only smiled and asked, "Mummy, is food not meant to be eaten?" That was her way of life. She could eat at any time, at any place. Morning, afternoon, night, it didn't matter. Whether it was at a wedding, a church service, or even at a funeral, Demi never missed the chance to chew something. People started to shake their heads and warn her that this habit would land her in trouble one day. But she never listened. By the time Demi became a young woman, she had not changed one bit. Her appetite grew with her body. She had completed secondary school and decided to start selling Ankara fabrics in the big market to earn a living. Her mother helped her set up a small shop at the corner of the market, hoping that business would teach Demi responsibility. Every morning, Demi dressed in bright colors, tied her scarf, and carried her wares to the shop. She arranged the fabrics neatly, greeting customers with a wide smile. From a distance, she looked like a hard-working and serious young trader. But anyone who knew her well understood that food was still the center of her life. The problem was not that she didn't make sales, she did. Customers liked her friendly attitude and often bought fabrics from her. But before the day ended, all the money she made would find its way into the hands of food sellers and hawkers. Hawkers knew her well. As soon as they passed by her shop, they would call, "Demi, come and buy hot puff-puff. Demi, come and taste this sweet mango. Demi, this roasted plantain is fresh." And Demi never resisted. If it was gala, she bought it. If it was biscuits, she bought them. If it was boiled groundnuts, roasted yam, rice and beans wrapped in leaves, or even chewing gum, she bought them all. By evening, her profit would vanish, and she would return home empty-handed, her stomach full but her purse flat. Her mother scolded her often. "Demi, how can you eat all your profit every day? Don't you want to save for your future? Other girls are saving money for marriage or building their business. You are just eating." But Demi only laughed. "Mummy, I cannot kill myself. Is it not food that keeps us alive? If I die tomorrow, will I carry the money to heaven?" Her mother would sigh, shake her head, and leave her alone. Neighbors and friends advised her too, but Demi always brushed them aside. To her, eating was life, and nothing else mattered. Demi was not only known for her endless appetite, but also for the way she ate with anybody and everybody. She never turned down an offer of food, no matter who it came from. If a customer walked into her shop with a pack of chin-chin and asked, "Demi, do you mind sharing?" she would quickly say, "Oh, I don't mind at all," and dip her hand into the pack. One day, a woman came to buy onkara from her. As they were negotiating the price, the woman brought out roasted corn and began to eat. She turned to Demi and asked casually, "Do you want some?" Before the woman could finish her sentence, Demi had already collected the cob from her and started chewing happily. The woman laughed and said, "Oh, Demi, you are truly a lover of food." Her shop became known as the place where no food offer was ever rejected. Even small children in the market teased her. They would run past her shop, waving biscuits in her face, and shout, "Demi, do you want?" knowing fully well that she would always say yes. Though people laughed at her, she didn't feel ashamed. In fact, she enjoyed the reputation. She believed it made her friendly and approachable. "At least people know I'm not proud," she often said. "I eat with everybody." But deep inside, many people wondered how long she would continue like that. The elders in the market shook their heads whenever they saw her eating again. They whispered among themselves that such greed never ended well. Some even began to tell their children, "Don't be like Demi, who eats everything without control." Still, Demi continued her life happily, moving from one meal to another, from one snack to the next. For her, each day was not about how much she sold in her fabric shop, but about how many different foods she had tasted before the sun went down. Demi's love for food was no longer a secret. Everyone in the community had a story about her unusual eating habits. She ate at times and in places that no one else dared to. Once, at a burial ceremony in her village, people were mourning loudly. Some were crying, some were singing dirges, and others were consoling the family of the deceased. But there was Demi, sitting quietly under a tree, chewing roasted groundnuts as though she was watching a football match. When someone told her it was not proper to eat at a funeral, she simply shrugged and said, "The dead will not wake up to eat, but I am alive. Let me eat." At another time, during a church service, while the pastor was preaching about self-control, Demi was at the back bench secretly unwrapping a piece of gala sausage roll. The smell floated in the air, and people around her turned their heads. One woman whispered, "Is there no place Demi cannot eat?" But Demi was not moved by the whispers. She only smiled and chewed faster before the usher noticed. Her friends tried to correct her. "Demi, there is time for everything. Must you eat everywhere?" But she always gave the same answer, "Hunger has no manners. If I am hungry, I must eat. Even if the sky is falling, I will still eat." It was this stubborn attitude that made elders shake their heads. One day, they said, "This girl will meet what she is looking for." But Demi did not listen. It happened on a very hot afternoon. The sun was so harsh that the earth itself seemed to burn. Demi, after eating 3 wraps of moin and a large bottle of soda, felt heavy and tired. She decided to take a walk to the river that flowed just outside her town. The riverbank was a place where children played, women fetched water, and sometimes, young people went to swim. That day, the river was quiet. Only the gentle sound of water flowing and birds singing in the nearby trees could be heard. Demi removed her slippers and walked barefoot on the soft sand. She dipped her legs into the cool water, enjoying the relief it gave from the heat of the day. As she sat there, she noticed something unusual. A woman was sitting by the river, close to the water, eating from a wide calabash filled with steaming food. The aroma drifted into the air, strong and sweet, reaching Demi's nose. Her eyes immediately brightened. "Food," she whispered, licking her lips. She had never seen this woman before. The stranger's skin glowed strangely, almost as if it was wet even though she was not inside the water. She wore a wrapper tied around her chest, and her hair was long, black, and shiny. But Demi was not concerned about the woman's strange appearance. All her attention was on the calabash of food. Without thinking, she stood up, walked closer, and asked in her usual bold way, "Sister, please, can I join you?" The woman turned slowly, her eyes glistening like drops of water. For a moment, she stared at Demi in silence. Then she smiled, showing white teeth. "Come," she said softly, "if you are not afraid." Demi did not hesitate. She sat beside the woman as if they had known each other for years. The food in the calabash looked strange but delicious. It was a mixture of fish, soft white lumps like pounded yam, and a thick soup that shimmered like oil under sunlight. The woman scooped some and offered it to Demi. Without asking questions, Demi began to eat. She ate greedily, licking her fingers and nodding her head in delight. "Ah! This food is sweeter than anything I have ever tasted," she exclaimed. The woman watched her quietly, still smiling. "Eat, Demi. Eat until you are full." And Demi did just that. She ate and ate until her stomach felt tight. But as she reached out for another scoop, something strange happened. A sharp pain shot through her legs. She gasped and dropped the calabash. Her legs began to tremble. She tried to stand, but her knees bent awkwardly. She fell to the sand, clutching her thighs. To her shock, she saw her skin beginning to change. Shiny scales started spreading from her toes upward. Her legs fused together, twisting and reshaping into a long, silver tail that slapped against the sand. "No. No. What is happening to me?" Demi cried, her voice trembling. The woman laughed softly. Her laughter was not ordinary, it echoed like the waves of the river. "You asked to eat, and you have eaten. Now you will live with the river." Demi screamed and tried to crawl away, but her new tail made it impossible. Her arms clawed at the sand, but her body was heavier, colder, and no longer fully human. The river woman stood up, her own body shimmering as though made of water. With one graceful step, she walked into the river and disappeared beneath the waves. Demi was left alone, half on land, half in the water, weeping bitterly. She tried to call for help, but her voice came out strange, half human, half watery echo. She slapped the sand with her hands, struggling to move. Her tail was long and silver, covered in scales that glistened under the sun. The upper half of her body was still human, but the lower half was no longer hers. She could not walk. She could only drag herself slowly toward the water, where the tail felt lighter. "Please, somebody help me," she cried, but no one was near. Only the birds and the flowing river answered her. As evening approached, she realized the truth: she could not return to her normal life. She could not go back to her shop, her family, or the market. She was trapped between two worlds, half human, half mermaid, because of her endless greed. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "If only I had controlled my mouth. If only I had listened to people. Food has destroyed me." From that day, Demi remained by the riverbank, no longer the cheerful market woman everyone knew, but a creature of warning to all who passed by. Life changed completely for Demi. The woman who once spent her days laughing in the market, buying snacks from hawkers and eating with customers, was now trapped at the edge of the river. She could no longer walk or return home. Her tail shone in the sunlight, and the water seemed to call her more strongly with each passing day. At first, Demi tried to crawl back to the path that led to the village, but the tail was heavy and dragged her backward. She realized that the closer she stayed to the water, the lighter her body felt. So she remained there, half in the water and half out, feeding on fish that swam too close or fruits that dropped from nearby trees. Children who came to fetch water sometimes spotted her from a distance. They would drop their pots and run, shouting, "There is a strange woman by the river. She has a fish tail." But when adults returned with them to check, they found only ripples on the water. Many dismissed the children's words as playful lies. But the truth was that Demi was there. In the evenings, when the sun set and the market quieted, her soft cries could be heard by anyone brave enough to stay near the river. She wept for her shop, for her mother, for the life she had lost. Yet, deep in her heart, she knew it was her own greed that had brought her there. She whispered often to herself, "If only I had said no. If only I had not begged to eat from the river woman's food." But regrets could not change her fate. Slowly, news about Demi began to spread through the community. At first, people wondered why her shop in the market was always closed. Customers who went to buy Ankara fabrics would shake their heads and say, "Where has Demi gone? She has not opened her shop for days." Some joked that perhaps she had eaten too much and fallen sick. But then, the stories of children who claimed to see her by the river began to gain weight. One little boy swore that he had seen her silver tail splashing water. Another girl said she had heard her voice calling out sadly at night. Soon, the whispers became serious discussions. Elders gathered in the evenings and said, "Did we not warn her? Did we not say that too much eating will one day put her into trouble?" Mothers began to use her story as a warning to their children. "Don't be greedy," they told them. "Do not eat everything you see, or you will end up like Demi at the river." Even in the market, her name became a proverb. When hawkers passed by, and someone bought too much food, the others would laugh and say, "Be careful, oh. Don't become another Demi." Some people pitied her, while others mocked her fate. But one thing was clear, her story was now a lesson for everyone. As months passed, Demi's name was no longer spoken as that of an ordinary woman. She became part of the river's mystery. People began to believe she was no longer just human but a river spirit. Fishermen said that sometimes, at dawn, they saw a figure with long hair sitting on a rock in the middle of the river, brushing her hair and weeping softly. Some claimed that if a greedy person went too close to the water, they would hear her voice warning them, "Do not be like me. Do not let food destroy your life." Parents used her name as a proverb whenever their children overate. "Don't eat like Demi," they would say, "or the river will keep you." Over the years, her story spread beyond her village to neighboring towns. She became a legend, a tale told by moonlight to scare children into moderation. Her life of gluttony, once a source of laughter, had turned into a permanent warning carved into the memory of the people. And so, Demi remained at the riverbank, no longer the cheerful fabric seller of the market, but a spirit caught between two worlds. She had chased food without control, and in the end, food had swallowed her destiny. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching. Kindly share in the comment section the valuable lessons you have learned from this story as we interact. Like this video please, and kindly remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Until I come your way again with another story, for now from me it is bye.